Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2. I don't know whether to be happy, I don't know whether to be annoyed. There were definitely some good things that we can look at, and there were definitely some not so good things, some bad things to also pay attention to. But I thought in the first half we were pretty superb. I thought the midfield looked much better. We went back to our older tactics. The build-up play was better. We had smoother transitions, and I believe we did take some of our chances, especially in the first half where we were able to get 2 goals up. And I think a big factor of that was due to Mikel Merino. He has finally announced himself in the Arsenal squad with that goal that he scored. And all I can say is welcome to Arsenal, Mikel Merino. I thought he played well with the role that he was in. And with Rice coming into the 6, it allowed Mikel Merino to express himself in the left side of the midfield, which is something that we've been waiting for quite a while. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Odegaard comes back into the team and we play with that midfield 3. And I think this is something that I would like to see moving forward, because he looked more natural in that position. I will say that he did miss an absolute sitter, but he was able to make up for it and score a goal with the next set piece. So hopefully he can get greater run of games as time goes on. But it was good to see Mikel Merino finally get up and running. And I'm really happy to see Rice play in the 6, because that is his natural position. I know that Arsenal have been playing him in the 8 role and he's been going up and down, but when Declan Rice came to Arsenal, the one thing I wanted to see from him is to play in the 6. I want him to play in the CDM position, because that's where he excels at. He's that extra defender and he's also that extra midfielder. And that's just something that I just want to see him more in. I mean, it's nice seeing him score goals and get up front and do all those sorts of things, but seeing him in that CDM 6 role is what I want to see. I thought seeing Ben White in defence was actually pretty good. One of the key things that I believe we missed in this Arsenal team was the long balls from defence, and that was something that Ben White was able to do. He gave a great assist to Bukayo Saka. I'll get to Saka in a second, but I thought Ben White did well. And he looked like he didn't miss a day coming out of centre-back, because we have to remember that when Ben White came to Arsenal, he was originally a centre-back and then he changed to a right-back, because ball distribution was very good, and it allowed him to play right-back and to bring in William Saliba into the team. But hopefully we know that if Saliba does come out, then Ben White can come back into the team, and him and Gabriel looked well together for the time that they were able to play together. Partey, I thought, played really well in the right-back. I thought he kept Diaz quiet. Although I didn't expect him to play as well as he did, and although he was coming in and out and swapping with other players like Kai Havertz, he done all right today in right back, and I thought that he did his job. In terms of some of the players, I think those are some positives. I think we really need to have a tough conversation on some other players as well. Gabriel Martinelli. So he's pretty much given out the same sort of performance that he always does. He gives in a defensive shift, works hard, runs up and down the wing, but offensively we need to have a conversation. Thing is, I always see this trend with him where he always comes down the wing, and when it comes to taking on players, he usually comes outside and then tries to cross it in, but he never cuts in a bit more than I want him to. I really want him to cut in a lot more. And if we were to look at the second goal, Lewis Skelly done a good pass to him, but his decision making on where to dribble let him down, and he got the interception and they scored. I thought with Martinelli, especially on the offensive end, I just don't think he was that great. I have to be honest. I think if we were to look at the comparisons between Bukayo Saka and Martinelli, we can see how well Bukayo Saka is compared to Martinelli. And maybe you could say I'm tough, maybe you could say I'm a bit harsh on Martinelli in certain cases, but I look at it like this, right? And we need to look at their development, because they both came into the team around the same amount of time. If we were to look in 2018, when Martinelli came into the squad and when Saka announced himself in the 2018-2019 season, when he came through in that Europa League game and he scored a goal, Martinelli had a higher potential at the time. Yes, he had big injuries. Yes, he came back, but I think enough time has passed where he has played many seasons where we're getting to a point where we need him to move up to the next level. We need him to play at a similar, if not better level than Bukayo Saka, because that was the expectation that we had from him when he first came into the side. And to be honest, over the last 2 years or so, he just hasn't progressed as much as I'd want him to. And I think we need to have some tough conversations at the end of the season whether or not we may need to look elsewhere for a possible left winger, because I like Martinelli. The work rate that he gives is second to none, but I need more from the offensive end, especially if we're going to, or if he wants to come in and call himself a world-class player. Because if once Bukayo Saka comes out of the team, then we need to look at Martinelli. And look, a lot of the top teams, especially some of the best teams ever, they've had wingers on each side where if one goes, then you can ride the other. Look at Liverpool. Salah goes, you have Mane. If Barcelona with MSN, okay, Messi might not play, we got Neymar. For Manchester City, okay, didn't have Mahrez, but guess what? Sterling's on the other side. So the point is that with Martinelli, we need a lot more from him. And this season I'm going to be looking at him very extensively, because last season, okay, it wasn't the best of seasons, but this season, in terms of goal output, in terms of assists, in terms of running at defenders and doing some skills, I mean, I know it's stereotypical for me to say this, but he's Brazilian. I'm expecting skills, I'm expecting him to get by opponents with ease. You can kind of see that with Gabriel Jesus, but with Martinelli, I'm just not seeing it as much. And I think we also need to have a big conversation about Kai Havertz. Over the last couple of games, he's got away with his performances because the midfield was non-existent due to suspensions or red cards and this and that, but we gotta call it out for what it is. And Kai Havertz hasn't had the best run of games as of late. His finishing today was quite bad. He's been hitting it over the net, and I can say the same for Martinelli as well. There wasn't much in the game, and I think the reason why that is because he was playing in that cam position where usually Trossard was. So Trossard went up top and Kai Havertz was playing in that cam position, and I think that's the wrong way to go. If Kai Havertz was doing well up top, then keep him up top, and if Trossard was playing that cam position, then keep him in that cam position, because Kai Havertz was swapping with Partey in that right back position. He was covering places in the midfield, but I want him to be up top and I want him to play and strike. You can see that he was trying to do that Odegaard role with Trossard, because he was getting into the same pockets of spaces where Odegaard would get to give passes to Saka. I just want Kai Havertz to just get back on top to where he is. And the longer he doesn't score a goal, the more those conversations will come up on whether or not he's the top striker and the main striker for Arsenal and this and that. And I think those are fair conversations to have, because we're always talking about needing a striker, but if we got Kai Havertz and he's scoring game after game, then those conversations become quieter and quieter. We can rely on him. But overall, he's another person we need to have a little bit of a look at. He needs to play up top. Trossard needs to come back in the midfield, and hopefully Odegaard comes in as soon as possible, because once Odegaard comes back into the team, then we'll get to see Kai Havertz score more goals. But yeah, other than that, Lewis Skelly, when he came on for Timber, I thought Timber played well, but you have to ask yourself, what are you going to expect from Lewis Skelly against Mohamed Salah? I mean, it can only go in one direction, and it's weird because I'm all for giving youngsters a chance, but against Liverpool, they're one of the top sides in the world, and you have to pay them that sort of respect. And I thought to myself, why isn't Zinchenko coming on? Don't come to me and tell me that he's had injuries and this and that. It's quite clear that if Lewis Skelly is getting ahead of Zinchenko, and that's no disrespect to anyone, but Lewis Skelly is 17, 18 years old, so that means that possibly Zinchenko is on his way out of the club. And it's the same sort of thing with Kirill. Once Gabriel also came off, Kirill came on, and we're getting into this trend where whenever we take out these certain players and we bring on our bench, such as Kirill or Lewis Skelly or whoever, oh sorry, not Lewis Skelly, but mainly Kirill, we concede, and it's not looking good. And I think there's probably time that we move on from Kirill and Zinchenko. Other than that, Gabriel, Timber, they've come off injured. Timber, unfortunate because we're sort of rushing him back and he's come off a big injury, but it's annoying because we have 7-8 people outside that are due of the squad that's due to injury or that's due to suspension, and it's very, very, very annoying. It's hard and it's upsetting to see the defense the way it is, because the balance of it was just topsy-turvy. No Saliba, no Gabriel, no Calafiori. Timber's also gone as well. That's practically all our main defenders. So once I saw that, I thought to myself, how is it that we're going to see out the rest of this game? And I thought about Mikel Arteta's tactic. Maybe in one way, sometimes the best attack is the best defense, because once they came off, we tried to shut up shop, but it's quite clear that that hasn't worked, and that won't always work unless you have your top defenders on the field, and in this case we didn't. But we're going to have to see what happens next. In terms of the title race, it's not done, but it is going to be hard with 5 points off the top. We're only 9 games in, And I know some people are trying to write us off already, but we have to look at the situation for what it is. The thing is, Arsenal have had many red cards, stupid decisions go away, and many key injuries. But the thing is that we're still in it. We're still in it despite all those things, and I think that's something positive to look at. But the point is, from now, okay, you've gone through this bad, let's put this as a bit of a bad patch. Let's move on from it. Let's get some confidence back, and then hopefully let's make a run. Let's go to Newcastle. Let's get a win over there. Let's go to Chelsea, get a win over there. Because there's something that Roy Keane said, and some people took it the wrong way, but he said, although Arsenal are probably 10 men down or they have injuries, we still have the quality to win and find ways to win. And as a title contender, and if you want to win the title, those are the things you need to do. We can't be crying about referees. We can't be crying about what's happening with the other team and suspensions and injuries and all of that, because at the end of the day, no one's going to care. And it's important that Mikel Arteta and Arsenal find ways to somehow get the wins and get it done, because champions find ways essentially, and I think we can do that. And the good thing is that Saliba will be back next game. Hopefully Gabriel isn't a major injury. Hopefully Timber is just a precaution, but we're just going to have to wait and see. And hopefully Arsenal will come back in the Champions League and also against Newcastle next week, but let's see how that goes. Overall, I thought this game in the first half was very good, but in the second half wasn't as good. So we just need to find a way to just make that consistent and also do better in our home form. I thought Raheem Sterling could have got a run out today. I thought because of Martinelli and just his lack of ability or just lack of offensiveness, maybe he could have came on and provided something different. But yeah, other than that, it's the same old sort of points. Let's see what happens in this game, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye bye.